understand your activism aside from the noise and the vulgarity, and how has it influenced a new breed of activists?
I think if you go to Wangari Maathai, you're forgetting our grandmothers.
Yeah.
Grandmothers in Buganda, where I come from, when they were angry with you, the first thing they said it was Nyoko. If they were Christian, they would say something else.
Yeah.
But women have used this language for a long time. The drunkard woman or the drunkard man who has to say something at the funeral of somebody.
Yeah.
When everybody is keeping quiet, that drunkard will come and use that language.
Yeah.
So before we go to activists who are trained in activism, think about where we come from. Think about the person who curses. What language do they use?
Yeah.
Think about Wangari Maathai, but think about Sylvia Tamale. Think about Solomon Nakawesi. The women's movement in Uganda had the vagina monologues for a long time.
Yes.
And I'm saying monologues, not monologues. I'm saying vagina monologues because the word for vagina in Uganda is mana.
Yeah.
Okay? And I think as women, we should take back the
Our power.
sacredness of our womanhood, especially in contexts like Uganda where we can do nothing.
Yeah.
We have nothing to fight with. I think of Eddie Mutwe's mom right now, today, right now. How else can she fight when she has done everything? She has begged, she has pleaded. Tomorrow is Mother's Day.
Yeah.
How else can Eddie Mutwe's mom mobilize power?
Yeah. So
in terms of the vulgarity question, I refuse the idea that our most sacred, our most powerful tool of war as women, we don't have to fight for it. We just use words. But we can also undress and show them our body parts.
Okay.
And it's effective. So maybe people who are moral see the devil in our body parts. I refuse that. I have taught my daughters and my sons that this is a weapon we can use. And in Uganda, it was effective.
Yes, it was. Not just in Uganda, in Africa. I think that you broke such a big record that everyone was talking about it everywhere. They were talking about it in West Africa, in South Africa.
So do not allow people to say the most effective tool. I paid nothing. I went to my timeline, I got my phone and I typed Museveni, happy birthday Museveni. They say it was. It's point number 17 in my book.
Yeah. I like that you talk about being a mother and how people like Eddie Mutwe's mother feel. And I think that at this point, I would like to read you one of my very favorite poems from a German theologian who was opposed the Nazi regime during the late 30s, and it reads, but I made a Ugandan adaptation of it. Okay. It says, first they came for the opposition leaders, and I did not speak out because, well, I was not a member of the National Unity Party platform. Then they came for the activists, and I did not speak out because I was not a human rights defender. Then they came for the journalists, and I did not speak out because, well, I am a journalist, but not a frontline journalist, tear-gassed, beaten-up journalist. Then they came for Eddie Mutwe, and I did not speak out because I was not part of that community. And then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out.
How appropriate.
Stella, just this past week, the media has been awash with stories of abduction, Eddie Mutwe being abducted. I mean, we've been hearing this for the past 4 years. But
40 years.
Yeah,
and
40 years. Yeah.
But you're saying 4. Why are you saying 4 years?
No, because this is when the People Power movement came into power, and
People Power in 2017.
Yes, then they were talking about people disappearing, and some people thought, oh, they are crying wolf.
No, but people have been disappearing in Uganda. Please don't allow people to shorten the history of our suffering as Ugandans.
Yes. So people have been disappearing
for a long time. Yes. Don't start. Our history doesn't start with the arrest of the people who were arrested because of People Power.
Yes. What I'm trying to say is that.
No, you correct what you're saying.
Yes.
Ugandans have a long history of abductions and disappearances. Do not start blindly with the arrests that happened when People Power came.
I agree, Stella. But I think that what was very clear this time is that the chief bodyguard of Bobi Wine, Eddie Mutwe, he disappeared.
That was yesterday. It was last week.
Yes, just this past week. So when he disappears, the first son comes up on Twitter and he says, oh, I am holding him in his basement and teaching him Runyankore. Now, Stella, you live in Germany now, and you are very familiar with the turbulent German history of the genocide, and just in neighboring Rwanda. And of course, as a mother, I think I would like to ask if, because Uganda is the second youngest population in the world, when we think about the future of our young generation and in the direction that the sectarianism and the tribalism is going, are we worried that this is something that could have long-term effects? And I would like to read you something from someone I follow on social media, and this is Andrew Chamagero, and he writes, when a soldier replaces his oath with a tribal drum, the republic is already bleeding. In any constitutional democracy, the military is not a tribe. It is a national institution. But what we are witnessing today in Uganda is the alarming erosion of that principle through the reckless utterances and tribal posturing of General Muhoozi Kainerugaba. To abduct a citizen, subject him to dehumanization, and boast that he is being taught Runyankore, as if national unity will be achieved by linguistic coercion and ethnic arrogance, is not only irresponsible, it is criminally reckless. This is not an isolated incident, it is a pattern of weaponizing tribe, draping it in uniform, and unleashing it as both a sword and shield. And we must ask, what legacy are we normalizing when impunity speaks louder than the Constitution? That is not patriotism. That is state-sponsored tribal humiliation. That is fascism in fatigues. This man is not just inciting tensions, he's normalizing ethnic superiority. And when he parades himself on social media, flexing military privilege like a TikTok trend, the poor Banyankole in the villages will pay the price. Because when the backlash comes, it won't touch him. It will touch the mother in Bara, the youth in Bushenyi, the border rider in Intungamo. They will bear the cross of his reckless stand. And where are the so-called elders? Where are the moral voices from all faiths and political spaces? Why are they quiet? You shout amen on Sundays, but you go mute when a general terrorizes the public. You are not men of God. You are men of convenience. Let's be clear. Criticizing tribalism is not tribalism. Speaking the truth is not hate speech. Naming injustice is not incitement. To the elite, your silence is not wisdom. It is cowardice. Your children may be studying abroad, but one day, the system you refuse to confront will find its way to your doorstep. You will not hide forever. Uganda must stop guilt-tripping the oppressed for speaking up. This is not politics. It is a fight for dignity. We will not be ruled by fear. We will not kneel to uniform tribalism. We demand justice, we demand accountability, we demand leadership, not inherited impunity. Now, the question is, Dr. Stella.
I hope you have permission from Andrew Chamagero to read the entirety of his
Yes, he shared it publicly. So, addressing the human rights situation in Uganda requires a multifaceted approach that would include making sure that the judicial arm works and that minority groups are protected. As a mother, what do you believe is a solution of the human rights situation in Uganda and protection of vulnerable groups like women and children?
I mean, look, human rights in Uganda are constitutional. It doesn't matter what has happened to our constitution. Ugandans must never forget that our constitution has a Bill of Rights, right? And these are international human rights standards. Okay, it's very, very easy for Ugandans to swallow and normalize the abuse of human rights. But these are inherent, they are God-given. the government in power does not give us human rights. Okay? We are born with these rights. That's the first thing that I want to say. Even in repressive systems such as which we have, where the military under Muhoozi now, but the government under dictator Yoweri Museveni, the masses without particular leadership, who is leading the farmers, who is leading the students, who is leading women, who is leading, that we're so fragmented as people. Our cultural leaders, our religious leaders are very fragmented. In the absence of leadership, I think it is important, therefore, that then mothers and women come to the fore. Tomorrow is Mother's Day. And I think for me that one of the things I would want to see, one of the things I really believe in is the power of the family unit. It doesn't matter if one is a single mother such as myself. In my home, it's female-headed. I'm the man and I'm the woman because the father of my children is at large. It doesn't matter if there's a spouse, daddy and mommy and the children. It doesn't matter if there's daddy and 4 mummies because we have polygamous homes. It doesn't matter if it's daddy alone. I want to say for me that the role of women as mothers has been subdued, just as our body has been made vulgar. The role of women as mothers in Uganda has been subdued. But you're cutting me short before I give you my response. Don't cut me short.
Okay.
Don't cut me short. Okay. Because this is important. Mother's Day has been reduced to a ceremony. The importance of mothers has been reduced to just calling us mama when they want us to raise particular patriotic children. But when we are raising people who are resisting our oppression, resisting dictatorship, the people who will speak when nobody else will speak, then mothers are told to shut up. And they tell us to be subdued and submissive. I want to call mothers out before you go on to your next point. This is important. Can Mother's Day 2025 become a time when motherhood comes to the front line as well? Where mothers go back to telling their children, nti Drake gwe gatonaba kufuluma, Uganda ojibulira otya? Nti Derek gwe gatonaba genda kuchakala mu ndongo. Ebya Uganda tukoze tutya? Because mothers, we have a particular authority which we must call to the fore in Uganda today. Tomorrow is Mother's Day. Before they give you flowers and chocolate and they sing you, can we give mothers the centrality of position to effect change and train change leaders?
Which brings me to my next question. Do you think that there has been a leadership gap
of course
on the side of the motherhood? Because we actually have women in politics and...
No, but who is the mother of the nation? Who is the mother of Uganda today? Mama Janet. Mamita Mama Janet.
Okay.
Mama Janet mutabani we Muhoozi. Atugumbula abantu yetandise ne edi mutugwe gongambi. The mother of the nation has a son called Muhoozi, who put a young man in a basement, a young man who is a father, to at least children that we know about. What is Mama Janet doing for the nation? I sang her a song. I, you and my mama. You know Rihanna has a song. I can't reproduce this song because I don't. I listened. I love music. I studied music in Gayaza. Nice. I play piano and guitar and drums. Mbaba Kisimba. Okay. But what I'm saying is, what is Mama Janet doing for Uganda? When her son is torturing Ugandans, when Muhoozi is torturing Ugandans, I heard that Muhoozi's actual mother died. But what we know is Mama Janet is the mother of the nation. How has she served Ugandans through motherhood when young girls today who attend schools that are governed by her Ministry of Education still miss school on days when they menstruate simply because they cannot afford it? Their parents are too poor. The president of Uganda, Dictator Yoweri Museveni, in 2016 promised during his campaign that he would provide sanitary pads to poor schoolgirls so they wouldn't miss school. Up to today, Mama Janet has never pushed her husband to fulfill that promise. The first daughter, and the second daughter, and the third daughter of the first family. How are they serving us through their mother? So I think for me that the role of motherhood in Uganda can play important roles. These women you're talking about, whether it's the fishermen who are led by Robin and Abanja, the Prime Minister, or it's those foolish clowns, as Muhoozi called them, who sit in Parliament, led by the brown bleached Anita Among or whoever it is, those women are not serving us. All the districts of Uganda have got a woman member of parliament. What are they doing for the nation? How? How many of those mothers said no to the 100 million that was given last month? So what is motherhood doing? It's Mother's Day, but what are those mothers in power doing? The women who are in journalism. How do they serve the cause of poor women? The women who are in civil society organizations, apart from knocking their high heels, I call them feminists in high heels. How are they serving the masses in Uganda? The women who are in foreign embassies, all those ambassadors that we have, those foreign envoys in our country, what are they doing? The women who have remained true to the cause are women who are fighting for the liberation of Uganda to free our country from dictatorial.
Stella, why do you think some women have been very scared of coming to the front line and taking up their roles and actually speaking their mind?
I want to underline some, because not all of us are scared. While I'm very critical of very many Ugandan women, not all of us are scared. And me, I want to first celebrate and acknowledge the women like myself, yourself, Dora, Baraka, who are at the front line every day. So I want to talk about those who are scared. It's very costly to be a human rights defender in our country. It's very costly to speak up. I spoke up and they called me mad. I spoke up and they took me to prison. I spoke up and they, you know what happened? I'm now in exile. Okay? I spoke up and women who should have been speaking up were saying, Stella Nyanzi yagweddalo, Stella Nyanzi zoro, Twechalina kyatugamba. Those women who are silent today, the women who said, situlabwe ya mulema, yagenza ali mu exile, self-imposed exile. Today they're telling me, Stella, tukoze tutya naffe tufume. Some of them are saying, Stella, kyewayogerangako, mpulira obusungu njagala kweyambula. So some women have been reduced because of fear of what happened to those of us who spoke out. When people see what I went through in prison, when people hear the plight other women who spoke out have gone through, they look at Betty Namboza's back. They look at, you can talk about a million different women who have spoken out. There's Comrade Olivia Lutaya who went to jail simply because she was standing together with Bobby Wine or NUP. The women who have had to suffer because they're speaking out. Part of what the dictatorship does is to use them as an example in order to act as deterrents to other women.
So that they are
There's fear. There's fear. People say, I'm a mother. I have 3 children. Stella Nyanzi left her children at home. So there's silencing, but there's also loss of jobs. Those of us who work in Uganda are either public servants, or we're in the private sector, or we're in the market economy. Now what happens to a person like me who was employed by the government at the oldest university is public service was used to deny me my job. I was taken to court, and then I took Makerere to court as well. It didn't matter that I won in court. It did not matter. I still cannot go back to Makerere as long as the system does not change. Women who are in the business sector, bamadamu abo abatunda ebintu, abasuubuzi abasuubula China, abatunda gwa mu budaala, malls, the arcade. Those women rely on paying taxes to Uganda Revenue Authority. The minute you are named and marked as Daisy is that woman with a Waizeka head, okay? They will tax you, they will come after your businesses. I have friends. You'll be you won't just be blacklisted. The taxes will go higher. Your goods will be impounded. Business partners will start withdrawing. Who wants to do business with an anti-government person? Civil society organizations such as FEMRATE, civil society organizations, non-government organizations were shut down. Okay? Women's organizing has been paralyzed because the government is actively aware and engaged in subduing the power of women. So on Mother's Day, I think for me, one of the things I'd like to do with our conversation is to call out motherhood and call out women and call out daughters and call out sisters and call out wives. Abantu nga Mama Janet, omuzimu ogwo gubakutte gubate. Omuzimu ogukwatte obukyala e Uganda, the demon that is holding back women's power. We call it pussy power. Our pussies are powerful. That power should come to the front line. We should refuse to fear, because many times, even in the Bible, when nations were afraid, it took an Esther, It took a
Deborah,
Rachel.
yeah?
It took a Deborah.
So-
It took even Delilah who cut off Samson's hair.
Mm.
Even Jezebel. We need wicked women and holy women and vulgar women and polite women to come back to the front line and do what we're supposed to do as women. We are healers. We are builders. We are lovers. We are nurturers. We can speak peace. We can also speak war. Me, I call warriors to the front line. And after we do the war, we'll have healing. But women must play our part. Because when God created man, he said, it's not good that man should be alone. And God made us from the rib. Me, I'm not from a rib. Maybe I came from two ribs. But my point is, those who are religious and think we must be submissive as women, God has a role for us to play as well. Our cultures, I'm a Uganda. What ethnic tribe are you?
I am a Mugisu.
You're a Mugisu. I don't know about Gisu women, but Baganda women, my ancestors were strong women. I look back and I see a long line of strong women. I want my daughter and my granddaughters and the great-great-granddaughters to build this lineage.
Yeah, so Stella, we also ran a poll to receive some questions online, and this is like one of my very favorite parts. We have Nanchi from Facebook who asks, how have you managed to raise your children without their father? What advice would you give a single mother on how to raise them into happy and loving children?
I raised my children on love. I conceived my children in love. I was married to their father when I had all the three of them. I married in a Muslim, in a mosque in Gambia, a small village called Esau. And one of the things that matter for me is, as a mother, in spite of whether I was rich or poor, that love prevailed. If I love my children, there are things I will not allow to happen. There are women who say to me, how can you do that? A whole mother? How can she say those words? A whole mother? But I say those words. I fight every day because I have a daughter. I want Uganda to be better for my daughter. I love my daughter so much. I don't want to leave her a polluted Uganda where she'll say, but mom, what did you do? When Museveni did this, what did you do? When Muhoozi was doing this, mommy, what did you do? Mama Stella, what did your generation do? Okay? And because I love my children, there are things I will not allow to happen. My daughter went to a private school in Uganda, and there was abuse happening by the system. Black girls had to cut off their hair. Indian and white girls were allowed to grow their hair. And for me in P1, immediately it was like, how? So I come in into the school with Baraka. I cut off her hair, and then she cries because culturally for her, my children's father is Gambian. Culturally for them as Fulani people, you must have your hair. We nurture beauty as we nurture brains and we nurture muscles among the Fulani women. And so when they say it's Indian culture, I say, but my daughter is an African. And in her culture, we don't shave the heads of young girls. And I fought. The women, the mothers in that school, were the first to say, how can she fight? If she wants, she can take her child up. And I said, no, I have the money. I have the money for this private school. I'm not begging any of you. I'm not a debtor. And my children have the grades to stay in this school. My daughter swims. So out of love, I changed that policy. PTA meetings, I became the chair of PTA. I sat in those meetings. I raised my hand. I spoke to Sudhir. I spoke to Rajiv. May Rajiv's soul rest in peace. I spoke at Kampala parents until P3. Black children were allowed to grow hair. It seems like a very small thing, but in terms of dignity and pride of our children, how do you tell your black child, Baraka, you're black, you are equal to Surita, who is an Indian, and you're equal to Bella, who is Italian. They have hair, but you're told your hair is dirty. It is these acts of love where we fight from a place of love that make me the mother. People are like, how could she say those words? How can you not insult Museveni if you love your daughter? Museveni akola ki ekyobusiru n'osirika olina okuvuma. How can I keep quiet when Makerere is threatening to take away my children's food? I talked and I begged and I talked and I begged and I wrote letters.